Hi everyone, and welcome again to Rotary Twin Flames YouTube site. This particular video is probably one that I will get a little bit excited about because it's probably the all-time topic favorite of my own personal one in any case. And it is Twin Flames, creation of the third energy. And I know there are many videos that depict this part of the magic of twin flames coming together and the creation of the third energy as being quite the mystical journey, and they put it into very nice videos which are most enjoyable to watch. However, I wanted to present it from the male perspective, how a guy might experience this, so that others may understand that the creation of the third energy, that is a, shall we say, a byproduct of the twin flame union, can be hopefully understood by more people in a little bit more simplistic fashion. And I think everyone who has ever read any material on twin flames has heard about this third energy. And the third energy is the co-creative efforts of a set of twin flames, and usually it'll begin as they first come together, and this can be the most exciting part, the most explosive part, and also the most misunderstood part. As the initial connection takes place between a pair of twin flames, there is usually the mystical joining, the union, the accelerated experiences that the two experience together that go beyond the imagination, and they will vary in intensity and the volume of the experience and the length of the experience in the initial connection can last a few days, a week, a month, and they live in a land of euphoria, and it can be quite overwhelming for both of the participants. And all of these experiences that manifest are created by the two energy fields that are totally in sync and compatibility at a spiritual level as they mesh and meld together. I like to call this part ignition, so to speak, and ignition it is, believe me. And the scenario as such here is what happens in many particular cases, and as I mentioned in another video, when twin flames do connect, it's because they're ready for the experience. Many individuals say, well, they weren't ready, they had karma, or they had this, or they had that to deal with. And in reality, the first ignition phase in the creation of the third energy amongst the two, it can happen initially as they meet without any actual physical intimacy. You will please note here that I do not use the word sex, all right? Twin flames do not experience sexuality, they experience intimacy. And intimacy creates that third energy, and I'll probably end up doing another video on the intimacy part of the connection later. But getting back to where I was at, once the initial connection does take place, what does happen is the vibration, the spin of both individuals come back down to what I call a realistic or a reality balance, or they come back from where they were. And it's at this particular point that the creation of the third energy starts to make impressions, if I can put it that way, in their emotional body, their mental body, also in their etheric body. And as the old expression goes, the proverbial begins to hit the fan, because all of the issues, patterns, vibrations, impediments, and everything else begins to come out. Now, the cause of that means, and why it's happening, is simply because to continue on in the twin flame union, what has to happen is both individuals here, and I'm speaking in terms of male-female here. I know there are other variations out there, but I'm speaking in total in the male-female perspective here, is all of these issues and patterns and vibrations come up. Now, they're not there as an indication of karma, and they're not in there as some form of punishment. What they are the energetic imprints of the individuals in question that need to be brought out, cleansed, and purged, for example. And what happens is this is where all of the problems that come up. And I'd like to say at this particular point in time here, I am rather passionate about being of assistance to twin flames getting together, because I've gone through the experience. And from a guide perspective, if I can make a comment here, the initial connection between myself and Nicole fulfilled all of the mystical experiences that went on for days and weeks, but finally reality came into play. And that's where, to be quite honest with everybody who may watch this video, from a guy perspective, it literally scared the crap right out of me. And I reacted by wanting to get in control, getting a handle on the situation, and getting some form of dominance in respect to what was happening. And this is from a guy's perspective. And like so many others that I've connected with over the years, you want to run away. Now, there is another important thing to remember here, and I want to say this sincerely to those of you who may be listening. I do understand that there are a lot of people out there who are counseling twin flames, intuitives, channelers, psychics, and just somebody who does readings. But I need to emphasize here the union of twin flames, the mystical joining, and then the issues and the impediments that come up are because of the creation initially of the third energy. And no one, I don't really particularly care at the moment who it is, unless you have experienced the third energy unfolding in a twin flame union from your personal experience. You cannot, you will not, and you will never understand what it is like to experience it unless you feel it. How can you possibly offer information to an individual who has gone through this, is creating a divine energy, a co-creative force that is basically at the moment beyond the understanding of the twin flames themselves no less, and offer yourself as a counselor when you don't have the experience yourself of having experienced that mystical union. This is in no way disrespectful to anyone who does this type of counseling. It is just an observation from my personal point of view. In other words, an old adage applies here: it takes one to know one. Now, does this mean that all twin flames coming together, and as they begin to create the third energy, does this mean everyone is going to experience chaos? No. There are variations depending upon the upbringing of the individuals in question, how much impediments, garbage, issues, cultural belief systems, dogma, tradition, and whatever else may be in the way. All of this needs to be dealt with. And the reason that all of these issues come up, for example, personality differences, lifestyles that people live, and individuality comes into play. All of these have to be dealt with at a level of coming together, because the more refined the personality is, the more clear you are of impediments, obstructions of a personal nature, of a family nature. Then what happens is you can create yet more of this third energy. So the initial mystical ignition, as it were, of twin flames is, from my experience and as I remember it here, is a small piece, a very small piece of potentially of the third energy that is available to a twin flame couple as they progress and go along. In other words, for those of you who have experienced it that may be listening, what you have is a small piece of the cake. In order to have the whole cake, you have to deal with all of the impediments, the obstructions that are in the way of progressively, evolving to higher and higher vibration as you go along. I personally have had some difficulty with this, as Nicole would also agree. It is very difficult to hold the energy that's in a continual state of perpetual growth and evolution as you go along with it. And the responsibility of the image, and this is why many twin flames who do connect, it is the right time, don't come together simply because they cannot, or they will not, or they're unable to rise above and let go of some of these things that I've mentioned. Individuality, their issues, their patterns, their impediments. It does not mean that they're a bad person. It just means that these impediments are in the way. And to be quite frank, I don't think we have enough people who have enough knowledge that are able to present that knowledge to people and to be able to assist them in a proper fashion. You must understand that that third energy is potentially what everyone, sooner or later on the planet, will be able to create. Twin flames are only a template of an offering that is being made to all of humanity. At some particular point in time, everyone will have that opportunity. So therefore, at this particular point in time, these things are manifesting for the twin flame union. Now, as this progresses and as the individuals drop, let go of, are healed in some form or fashion, or have assistance in regards to understanding what is going on, what they're going to have to let go, the process will become much easier. Now, also as this unfolds, it is important to remember, and I'm going to speak very honestly to those of you who are out there. If you are and suspect that you have and are in a twin flame union or connection, I recommend to you heartily that you seek out a pair of twin flames, not necessarily myself or Nicole, but you seek out a pair of twin flames. And the reason that I say that is because only they have experienced the third energy and can fully understand the impediments and the blockages that you yourself may have to go through. And only they, depending upon their personal development, can they assist you in removing some of these blockages and assisting you to achieve a higher frequency and a higher vibration. It is simply in the application of this, is as this union takes place and reality comes into play, you must deal with the emotional body, you must deal with the mental body, you must deal with the etheric body, and you must deal with the spiritual body also, which is coming into form. This takes knowledge, it takes experience, and it takes someone that can do a little bit more than just counseling. And I want to emphasize this point so that no one gets upset. I am not making comments in regards to others who counsel twin flames. If you are with your twin flame and you have experienced the third energy, I commend you for counseling. If you are not with your twin flame and you have not experienced the third energy, then you need to reassess what you are doing in regards to the counseling and the guidance of twin flames. We have, coming up in a very short space of time, a great many individuals in the younger generation who are going to need assistance. I'm going to stop at this particular point, and I may do a second part of the video here on the the intimacy part of the third energy at this particular point. Thank you very much for listening to the video.